sink or swim 生き残るためにたぎった声だと言い聞かせは Survival of the fittest 逆に苦行症 It's a world that a wisdom only will tell me what went wrong I paid my dues I've sold my soul So tell me what is left for me When I've given up everything
Hello and welcome to the War Room, my friends. Have a seat, grab your favorite drink, and kick back and relax as we start a new Total War Warhammer Immortal Empires campaign as Malus Darkblade, the son of Haggrave, and the Tyrant as well. Now, here is the twist with Malus's campaign. This is going to be a completely different start position from the vanilla base game start. When we pull the map up, he is listed as still starting in Haggrave and also in the Chaos Wastes. However, I am using a mod that sets Malus all the way down in the Southlands, which was his Immortal Empire's start position. He was starting a little bit more so on the left side, if I remember correctly, but we are going to be starting near the islands of Tor Elisor, allowing us ample opportunities to conquer those islands, set up a base of operations in the deep Southlands to make strikes and invasions into the other parts of the Southlands and into Grand Cathay eventually, hopefully meeting up with Lockyer Fellheart and also carving out an empire for the Dark Elves too. Now, my main goal for this campaign is to sell off Haggrave, because the thing is, we're going to be having a divided empire if we were to keep Haggrave, but we're going to sell it for as much as possible and also maintain alliances with Malekith and other Dark Elves here too. I'm also going to be going into distant wars with our Dark Elf allies and just making them pay us money for staying out of those wars, but officially declaring war and quote-unquote supporting them. Now, with the Immortal Empire's expanded map by Chaos Robbie, this opens up a massive amount of new lands for us to conquer. There's also some modded factions like the Tor Elisor High Elves and also the Jade-Blooded Vampires, which we will be encountering on our way here. Now, the thing is, it might turn into a three-way war between us, the Jade-Blooded Vampires, and the High Elves too. So, it's going to be an interesting campaign. It's going to be a very aggressive campaign too. As for our starting army, it is pretty decent here. My main killing force will be the Cold One Dread Knights, which I do want to make a thematic army and recruit most of those because while Malus himself does provide bonuses to them, we also have a Blood-Racked Medusa, which I will be using as a hero killer. She is also a decent melee combatant and also anti-large as well. As for some of the other faction effects, we do have Zarkan on our side, and with the Zarkan mechanic, you can't see it here, but there is a meter of going full Zarkan or not full Zarkan. Legend of Total War did say to try to keep it in the middle, so then you gain the effects and bonuses of having Zarkan, but also not too many of the negative effects such as loss of public order and also loads of Slanesh corruption. We do gain increased income from iron mines, gold mines, and marble quarries, as for Malus's Lord effect specifically, negative 20% recruitment costs for Cold One Dread Knights, Cold One Knights, and Cold One Chariot units, so we are incentivized to have more Raptor cavalry in our army. Upkeep negative 50% for the Cold Ones as well, and also immune to Chaos Attrition in Chaos Waste. That's not really going to affect us since we are going to be moving from the Chaos Waste into the Southlands, although there might be some Chaos Corruption because I do know Chaos Robbie did add a couple of Warriors of Chaos factions in the area too. But without further ado, let's jump into the campaign and see how the opening moves go. Taking a look at our starting army, most of our damage output is going to come from the Dark Shards, Cold One Dread Knights, a little bit from the Scourge Runner Chariots, and I'll be using the Bloodrack Medusa as our hero and Lord Killer as well. We'll be reserving our Master Bane and Malus for killing off any stragglers, and also should our Bloodrack Medusa struggle against the Lord we're fighting against, then we'll just send Malus and Bane to clean up house there. We also will be using the Dread Spears and Bleak Swords as cannon fodder essentially, and really just holding the front line too. Looking at our starting position, we're at war with the Tor Elisor High Elves. We're in a position to capture their settlement here and use it as a staging ground to island hop and eventually take over the surrounding neighboring islands. Eventually, I do want to move into the eastern colonies, up into Ind's End, conquer any minor factions or modded major factions that we encounter along the way too. I am kind of going into this blind, but I am also aware of the fact that the Tor Elisor High Elves are also at war with the Jade-Blooded Vampires in this area too. Both of these are modded factions with modded legendary lords as well. We're also at war with the Vampire counts, well, Vampire Coast I should say. They are a minor faction though, so we should be able to wipe the floor easily with them. They're also currently at war with Tor Elisor, whom we're also at war with, so we're already in a three-way rock, paper, scissors war too. They also have a legendary lord. I do plan to play as this faction in the future, and yeah, it's going to be a hard campaign playing as them going up against Malus and the Vampire Coast. Plus also, I believe Tor Elisor is at war with, the Islanders of the Moon. That is the Jade-Blooded Vampire faction in the area too. I might potentially make peace with them. I might even try to wipe them out in the early stages too, and have this entire area under Dark Elf control. Who knows? Looking at some of our other Dark Elf allies too, in case they actually fall or all of Nagaron falls to Valkia, Grombrindal, maybe even Taurox, essentially I can potentially have Malekith, Crone Helebron, and also Karen Carr's legendary lord, which is also added by Mixu's Unlocker too. I'm going to be taking their legendary lords and relocating them into the Southlands, so that's kind of the origin of the name of this video too, your new empire. We're essentially creating a new empire for the Dark Elves in the Southlands should things go awry in Nagaroth. But to do that, we first need to take out the Vampire Coast and also the High Elf colonizers in this area and keep it under our own dominion. We also are going to be doing a decisive victory here. I'm going to quick save. And yes, I know this is going to sound very cowardly, but I am going to auto-resolve. At the same time though, I will also showcase us fighting the battle manually too. But for conserving our army's sake, we'll quickly auto-resolve this. And I'll go with the army replenishment and slave increase too. But before we continue on with invading Tor Elisor, might as well just show you at least some action of the battle too.
The quotas must be filled.
So with the elephant in the room, or elephant on the battlefield, we have to get rid of their carronades. They have massive range superiority over us. So in order to cheese it, I'm going to be sending our master in to essentially tank or cheese dodge these shots. Essentially act as a distraction while I send my cold one dread knights and also chariots in to kill off their carronades, and also I'll be using the scourge runners to target their flying units too. The deck droppers will be very problematic there for us. And we'll be holding the rest of our army back just out of the carronades range. But let's see how this fares out for us. We're going to need to time it just right too. Also, I'll be relying on our Black Ark Corsair Black Ark to actually bombard and rain fire on the enemy too. Unfortunately, it looks like they've been distracted and notice my army on the left flank there. But the carronades are focus firing on my master. Took out a good chunk of them there. And massive amounts of damage there too. Might be risking it by doing another attack there. Scourge runners closing in. Open fire on the deck droppers. We'll need to be pulling the Dread Knights out as soon as possible too. Massive amounts of damage there. Fall back. Master, keep tanking those shots. And actually, we'll be pulling you back too. We'll be repositioning now that we have a little bit more range superiority. Dread Knights are getting a little bit caught up there, unfortunately. Taking quite a bit of damage there, boys. Let's move you guys up just a little bit slightly higher, too. Dread Knights reposition. Leaving their zombie pirate gunnery very much vulnerable here too. Chariots are still intact, but I want to make as much use of them as possible, so we'll be having them target these animated hulks too. You two shut them down, and then we'll use our Dread Knights to completely charge in the back lines too. Dark Shards need you to take out their flying units there. Timing is just right too. Absolute devastating charge from the initial Dread Knights, followed up by the second wave too. Hulks nowhere to go. Scourge Runner chariots shutting them down completely. Now focus the next charge on the next gunnery pirate mob. This one has weak binding. This one is soon to be devastated too. Deck droppers taking massive amounts of damage. Dread Knights doing more than their fair share too. Now it's time to pull them back out. But actually, we'll use them to finish off the rest. Dark Shards, reposition yourselves. And prepare your bombardment there. Bleak Swords, go in and help your allies here. Set up a flank. Devastating more of their units than our own, too. Focus fire on this mob here. Isolated their lord as well. Alright, set up a charge there. Alright, and finish off these hulks here. Alright, with them destroyed, we can now focus fire on the last remaining gunnery mob here. Dark Elves, focus fire on this mob here. Spear line is about to break though. Bleak Swords fall back and make way for a devastating charge there. And total disintegration of the vampire counts. Major decisive victory. We did actually take a bit of a beating there with one of our spear units there too. Zooming in, it was this one that took on a bulk of their army, but also was reinforced by our Bleak Swords. Star of the show, Dread Knights, all bloodied up, taking out their range capability. Hidden star of the show would be our master too, tanking a lot of that damage from the Caranoids, and also just being an overall good distraction. Malus and the Medusa hanging back. Medusa probably landed off a few shots on some troops, but nonetheless, we routed them completely, and it's an overall victory for Malus and his new empire. And with that, friends, a devastating victory and strong opening move from Malus and Haggrave. Loss of 120, but absolute worth it to destroy 965 zombie vampires. Bit of a damage there for our Cold One Dread Knights, and also of course our Spearmen too, but at the same time that we'll be taking the army replenishment and moving on to Tor Elisor, the main meat for our next episode, and our main target to establish a base of operations, which will soon expand to all of the other islands too. Thank you all of the new viewers, returning viewers as well, and for those of you who have watched the whole way through, I really appreciate your time in joining us for this Immortal Empires Expanded campaign. If you love watching those types of campaigns, or are also fans of D&D lore videos and Baldurs Gate builds as well, I'd love to have you join us on those adventures, friends. So remember to hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon notifications, and I'll save you a seat at the table for the next few adventures. take care and see you on the next battle.